Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Keeping It Real on Purpose, and I am your host, Edna White, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. Today, we're on the segment of talking to real coaches, real talk with life coaches. Got bumbled up today, guys, but I'm so excited to have this guest today. Her name is Tonya Octave, and she is an integrative psychotherapist. She is a coach and a hypnotist who specializes in helping individuals heal from deep emotional wounds. As the creator of the Octaves method, she skillfully blends the art and science of psychotherapy, coaching, and hypnosis, my mouth, to foster physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. So we are really going to get down to talking with her today, but welcome, 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 Tonya.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Edna.
All right. So I know that you're also an author, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. I really like the fact that I'm always having authors on. Sometimes I have some entrepreneurs on. But tell me, because I'm really interested in how you blend psychotherapy, coaching, and hypnosis all together. I love that concept.
I think part of it was I just started out doing the psychotherapy. And
Okay.
as a clinician, I decided, oh, we got to do some other stuff because people are really hurting and suffering and they need
Yes.
more than just kind of coming and sitting down on a
Yeah.
couch. Especially with the changes of COVID, the whole mental health realm kind of just changed overnight, literally.
Right.
And I started to see people struggle in other areas of
Right.
food and nutrition, lack of movement in their body, the inability or struggles to sit still and meditate, and
Oh,
those
that's
things,
good.
which it pushed me towards, along with some other stuff, moving in
Yeah.
a direction of creating what I call like that, the
Yeah.
Octaves method. And then
Right.
there were like these depth conversations about how do I change my thoughts from negative self talk? How do I understand this subconscious stuff? And so that
Mm-hmm.
became the integration of like the coaching. So bringing in like teaching people how to really be
Right.
mindful, intentional with meditation or some sort of spiritual
Right.
practice.
Right.
How to motivate people enough to want to move their body and see the importance of it. And I always say the biggest thing is getting someone to change their diet. That's usually where most
Oh
of the
yeah.
resistance is because it's such an
Right.
emotional attachment.
Oh yeah.
Um, and that's why the integration and the hypnosis flowed so easily because
Mm-hmm.
it became a path for people to
Mm-hmm.
dive into the subconscious, how you can
Right.
kind of bypass this thing we call the critical mind and start
Mm-hmm.
feeding your subconscious these loving things that maybe you never got as a child.
Yeah.
Like I am worthy, I am lovable, I am good
Right.
enough, I forgive myself from the
Yeah.
things that
That's a big
happened to
one.
me in
That's a big one.
childhood, right? We hold
That's
on
a
to
big one.
stuff
That's a
for some
big one.
reason.
That's a big
It's
one.
not, yep.
So you talked about not sitting still. That's so important in this current climate that we're in right now. You know, everyone has to be busy, 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 and I don't use the word busy at all because I hate
Hmm.
it. It just I learned that busy just means taking something from one spot and put it in the other, and there's no change. But talk
So it's a
about
distraction, right? It becomes a
yes.
distraction from what you're supposed to be doing
So
and
what you're
accomplishing.
supposed to be doing, and nothing
Hmm.
gets done. So you don't get any
Hmm.
checks off and anything.
Hmm.
Talk to us about being in that busy mode and how we can you address your clients and how to move them into a better space.
I think one of the things that I really like is
Mhm.
the women that come in and says, "I'm good. It's so hard for me to sit still. I can do this, this, and this. I've been a mom. I've been in relationships. I have this what we call like the
Sell it, sell it, sell
superwoman
it.
mentality, right? Like I can do it all." And I'm like, "Oh, well, you got that task down.
Yeah,
Now let's work on another skill. I know
right,
you can multitask, but can you sit still?" Can you
right.
calm and settle the mind? Because I know
Yeah,
you got this. Like you got a doctorate degree in that.
right,
But we're
right,
in
right.
elementary school with just sitting still and
That's
silencing
right.
the mind.
That's so right because
Hmm.
and you know what, and that brings on to the other layer of it, and I know you probably felt that is they won't ask for help. I'm good. They're just like, I'm good. Then why
Mhm.
you here? Like,
Mhm.
why are we talking?
Mhm.
You good?
Mhm.
But asking for help in those areas, they've never asked for help
Before, yeah, and
before.
I get
Yeah.
that too, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have sometimes my personality may come out like a type A, or I'm
Yeah.
trying to kind of multitask, but I also want to master and have that balance added to
Yeah.
that stillness and silence
Yeah.
of the mind. But what people don't realize is those who are multitasking and doing all that stuff. What is it doing to your body? There's something called the hypno we what we know of it, the
Yes.
old term is adrenal fatigue.
Yes.
But that's
Adrenal.
not
Yeah.
a new
Yeah. Yeah.
scientific term, but
Mm-hmm.
usually if people are
Yep.
Googling things, it's
Yes.
adrenal
Yes.
fatigue. So when
Yes.
you're in your 20s and you're multitasking, and then now you're having a family and kids and going to all kinds of places after school and
Right.
doing all of that type of work,
Mm-hmm.
what is it doing to your adrenals, which is responsible for every hormone in your body? And when
Yep.
your hormones are out of balance, I'm sorry, you're going to be out of balance. You're going to have
Yep.
mood changes and
Yep.
fluctuations. You're going to have more irritation.
Yep.
Um, you might be what I call more emotionally expressive.
Yeah.
People call it something else, though.
Yes, yes, and yes. And couple that with the food that we stop at on the way from work and we get a
Hmm.
little bite of stuff that's not really good for us, or we eat badly at home. Coupled with
Ooh, so
that.
we're just adding anxiety and depression into our
Yes,
food and our bodies, and we wonder why, like we feel like we're
yes.
suffering
We
in this
wonder
life.
why. Absolutely. We wonder why we're falling asleep, we're waking up, we're
Hmm.
all over the place, we're having hot flashes. I'm telling you. I didn't know how important food was until I started to get those sensitivities, like,
Hmm.
later
Hmm.
on in life. And now I'm so conscious. I'm not, what is it? I'm not living to eat, but I'm eating to live now.
Ooh, good.
I'm eating to live now. I'm not,
So you're
just
allowing food
living.
to be the medicine, not to be
Yes.
contributing to the disease.
Yes. So, and I'm noticing it every day. Like I'll eat something. Oh, that
Mm.
didn't feel good here. Like, in this part of there, what
Mm.
was it that was different? And I have to navigate and say, oh, that was it. Won't have that again. And then I take
Ah.
it out of my diet. But
But you're
doing all
also
that.
doing something important. You're
Yes.
tapping into that subconscious part of your mind where you are
Yes.
now attuned to the body. So I will often say the
Oh,
body's
that's
going to
good.
tell me the truth. The mind is going to tell me all kinds of lies. Oh, I could just eat one little Snickers. It's just a small.
No,
I deserve
no.
these things after working a long out. Really? You deserve a drink? Maybe you deserve an herbal tea so that you can
Yes.
rest and calm the mind and be
Yes.
prepared, to settle in after you get off of work.
Yes, because I've even learned with
I
even,
love that.
having those drinks after work with a wine, I wake up and things are popping. I'm like, what is that?
You're
What
having a
is that?
visceral
And I
experience.
hadn't realized I was contributing to having that little glass of wine after work,
Mhm.
and not really calming myself down. Now I have a time to calm down,
Mm.
debrief from all of that and just sit in my little corner there, and I call it, don't call it silence, so I call it solitude. Just solitude.
Mm.
I know my brain sometimes is going, okay, I don't want to talk. I want to think about that. Right? Is that how you teach them? I don't think about this. Let's just
You're
stay here.
releasing it, and some people will say like that's my self-care. What you're describing, that's your
Yes.
self-energizing.
Yes.
You are replenishing. There's a light bulb. If we keep that light bulb on all
Yeah.
the time, eventually
Mhm.
it will go out and it may destroy the electricity in the house. You
Right.
got to unplug it,
Yeah.
let it relax, and then go back, right? We don't
Yes.
we
Yes.
operate so in an opposite way that's not moving us towards health, it's moving
Right.
us towards a disease state. And you recognize that earlier enough
Yeah.
to start making different choices. So
Yeah.
hands off to you. Well, because most people aren't there.
Thank you. Let's talk
Hmm.
about the emotional part because that
Hmm.
weighs heavy. Let's do it.
Hmm. There's some emotion in terms of food, emotion in terms of how we express ourselves. What are you kind
Yes.
of thinking?
I'm thinking all of it. Let it flow. Let it flow.
Okay. Okay. So when I think of like emotion, like I'll have lengthy discussions in terms of people and emotion and food. So we
Right,
grew up in families, and either our families were healthy,
right,
most of them they weren't.
right.
And so there's this pattern of transmitting food from generation to generation. And
Gotcha.
we've been taught. Now, this can be sometimes the deep core part of the subconscious because we were given food to eat. We weren't given
Mm,
choices about food to eat.
right.
And within that, a lot of parents may say, like, oh, like my mom, she was like, I gave you good foods. You know, you had greens and, well, Thanksgiving is coming. So you had greens, turkey,
Yeah,
and stuffing.
yeah.
But when you look at the contents of the greens, so I'm a vegan. I'm like, did you put ham in my greens? Like,
Oh my
how dare
goodness.
you?
I finally found somebody that agrees with me. I've been saying this since I was like 12.
At least
Like, there's
separate it
something
out.
wrong
So
with this.
people,
There's no green.
mhm,
There's no
mhm,
green.
mhm. But
Yes.
we as children didn't get to make choices about
Yeah.
that. And what I
Yeah.
say is that's another trauma. That's
Right.
a trauma because
Oh
the
yeah.
choice has
Oh
been
yeah.
taken away from you. Like sometimes it is it's with spirituality that choice is taken away from you. Sometimes that
Right.
is in terms of learning in the educational system, choices are taken away from you, but it also
Right.
was food. And
Mm.
then we just recreate that pattern over and over
Yeah. That
without
makes
consciously
sense.
being aware of it because we're not slowing down. We're not
Mm-hmm, hmm.
observing what we're putting in our body and we're just stuffing ourselves.
Yeah. That
It's
makes
like we're
sense.
causing our disease state. We
Yes.
know, or even if you read research, just a little bit, you don't even have to read a lot,
Mm-hmm,
you
hmm.
know something about alkalinity and acidity. If your body is
Yes.
alkaline, you're
Yeah.
likely to be cancer free.
Yes.
So then we know the solution. Keep your
Right.
body in an alkaline state.
Yes.
Ham's not going to get it. Ham is acidic. It is. There are certain soda is
Yeah.
acidic. We
Yeah.
would put soda in our bodies. Not only that, we would give soda to our kids.
Yeah.
But would you feed your plants soda? It would die.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
Yeah.
last a week.
Yeah. It wouldn't. No. No. It
Mm.
wouldn't.
But we give
That
the
was one
kids,
of the first things I
the
got out of my
3 year
life
old,
was soda.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Soda's bad. It's just
it's
bad.
acidic.
Yeah.
It is adding, it is breaking down the cells in your body. And
Yeah.
as your cells start to replicate, they start to replicate these damaged cells. Basic
Mm-hmm.
biology. It's a choice that we did to ourselves. Yeah, we're influenced by the marketing industry, and the soda looks good on a commercial because a pretty girl and she's drinking on a hot day, something like
Right.
that,
Right.
trying to
Right.
convince us, even though it's probably like it's all lies. Because when you drink soda, it's acid to the body. It's not
Right. Right.
alkaline. It's destroying those cells. So
Mm-hmm.
when cancer comes in the body and is activated, it goes to the parts of the organ in the body that are the weakest. That's why some people get cancers like in the lungs or in the breast or in other
Right.
parts of the body.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
Hmm.
that's good. That's really
Hmm.
good. So, did we
So if
talk about
anything,
emotions?
no soda.
No soda. Do not have emotional love for soda. I talk
Mm-mm.
about soda all the time. How much sugar's in it, and just if you take all those pieces out and you just like look at them separately, but just to see what soda does, it strips things, and I'm like. Can you imagine what it's doing to like your inside? You pour it on
Yep.
something, it literally strips the color from it. I'm like, so I don't like soda at all. Sugar is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sugar is addictive. It's hard for people to give up sugar. We live in, especially if you're on the American standard diet, sugar
Oh
is
my
in
gosh.
everything.
Yes.
Carbs turn
It's
into sugar, wheat turns into sugar.
yeah.
Um, I always encourage people to be gluten free and dairy free. If
Yeah.
that's, if they're wanting to really work on being more in tune to themselves, freeing
Mm-hmm.
themselves from a
Mm-hmm.
disease state, having mental clarity, those are the two things. And
Yeah.
those two things have a lot of attachment. Like there's some research that hints to the idea that dairy has the same kind of components as heroin. So when I was coming off of Darren, that's all I kept telling myself. Ooh, I don't think I want to be a heroin addict. I had to work with the subconscious mind. I don't care. Whatever gets you there, gets you there. And I've
Yes,
been dairy
yes,
free for many
yes. That's
years.
a good one
Hmm.
though. Like put that
Hmm.
on your mind. Put that on your
Hmm.
mind.
And I tell people, I say, Google it. Google heroin and dairy. and see what
Oof.
comes up. That's how simple it needs to be for you. And if that's going to help you make a change, great. But also consider what you're doing to your kids if you have kids.
Yeah.
Because now you've started the trajectory. And I know those pediatricians out there will say, give your children cow's milk. I know that is the recommendation, and I get it. You got to do your own research because these are your babies that you
Yes.
say that you love. Don't
Yes.
trust other people, trust yourself and making sure
Yes.
that you're making good, healthy decisions
Absolutely.
for your family.
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree. I will tell you, my granddaughter, she's the youngest one. So when she was born, milk did not agree with her. I'm telling you, it
Mm.
just kept coming out, coming out. She doesn't
Oh.
drink milk to this day, like any of it. I mean, even the one that they gave her, they thought that she was going to starve to death. And I was like,
Hmm.
don't, I said, you know what? I said, I want to say either coconut or something like that. I'm thinking, I said, what is so natural that we're not even thinking about, right? And so
I
when
like
when
that.
I said, what about coconut? It's something that it just so natural. Her mother gave it to her. Instantly, she felt better, but she went to start. Then she started eating, and it was vegetables. She started eating vegetables like early. I was like,
Oh,
this kid is amazing. She's amazing now. Like
oh.
she has this thought process and she thinks things through a lot easier. And I was like, this
Mm.
kid is
You're
amazing.
getting
Like,
all the mucus out of her body.
yeah,
You
right.
cleared her from the mucus. There's something called the where people believe that mucus is the result of some kind of like most diseases in the
Yeah.
body. So
Okay.
you freed her from that. And how beauty you get to see this
Yeah.
beautiful flower blossoming
Yep.
because what do we give flowers? We give them water,
Water.
sunlight, which
Yeah.
is our vitamin D, to
Yes.
let
And
them
that
be nourished by
Well,
earth.
we always had that. Our mothers threw us outside after our homework and everything. Get outside, and come back before the
Yeah.
lights get on. Them lights better pop on. You better be back there. We had some vitamin
Uh,
all seasons. It wasn't
all
just,
season.
it
Hmm.
wasn't just like summer. It
Rain, you
was
learn how to
all
play in the
season.
rain.
That's right. Get outside.
Hmm.
Like what's
Hmm.
outside? Play in the rain.
Hmm.
I don't care. But
Hmm.
we were outside and we were healthier, we were more adventurous, we were creative. We had a television, but we were creative. We used to create things. We used to create, have like what do you call it, tree houses, and we used
Yep.
to make things up. We used to have
So
like
we played into fantasy and we used
yes,
imagination. Ain't that something?
imagination. Yeah,
Isn't
we
that what
used
kids are
it.
supposed to have?
Yeah, nobody's supposed to give it to us. Exactly. We
Oh.
used our imagination, which it was phenomenal. And I say that now to my grandkids, and they're looking at me, imagination. What is that? It's like, okay, you gotta, think of something, be creative, and it's so hard with this new generation. But
Well, I'll tell you what does happen for this new
what?
generation.
Tell me.
They use fantasy and they
Yes.
use it during teenage years in
Yes.
these relationships. So they have a
Ooh,
fantasy about how they think men and women are supposed to be in a
ooh, that's
relationship,
scary.
and that
Hmm.
causes conflict. So it's like, oh, I can't believe he's not faithful and honest and loves and adores me.
Yes.
Oh, was that your
Yes.
fantasy? Were you dreaming of Prince Charming in some
Yeah, like
way?
you
Hmm.
thought that, yeah, we see it all the time in this climate in every show. They get involved with somebody, even in the court shows, they move somebody in 2 months. I'm like, it's like they think they're gonna have this perfect relationship only to find out, oh gosh, no, it's like they're really bad. And forget
Yeah.
about what is the other one, the not 90 Day, Married at First Sight.
Oh, the different shows that are out. Yeah.
Yes, all the
Hmm.
different shows that are showing you don't really know anybody. You just, you
Hmm.
don't. And it takes times. It takes, the emotional fortitude. It really does.
I
It
talk
takes all
about
of
this
that.
a lot. I talk about this a lot
Okay.
in my book in terms of, so like all the acronyms mean something, and the last one is
Gotcha.
in terms of having a relationship, right? And
Right.
so most people say, well, like it's the relationship with other people. And
Right.
I always say, well, people are a mirror. It really is the relationship you're learning to have with yourself, and
Right.
you are
Well,
using
that's
or
good.
experiencing other people to teach you things about yourself. So
That's
when
good.
you get triggered because you said he did something to make this happen,
Right.
that's not really what's going on. It's trying to get you to see that there's some work that you need to do so that you can stay in balance and not get triggered.
Well,
The
that's
trigger
good.
is to inform you of something you can do to go deeper. But most
That's really
people will
good.
say, that's their fault. My mom did this. My
Well,
grandmother
that's
did.
really good.
He's causing this. Those
Hmm.
type of messages. Hmm.
That's really good. That's
Hmm.
good. I like that. Give us another acronym.
So we talked about V, which is
Yes.
Victuals. That is kind of
Yes.
bringing in food that is nutritious and detoxifying. We
Right.
talked a little bit about meditation, so that would be observation.
Okay.
Um, Another fun one is A for animals.
Oh,
And I always think animals are beautiful for a variety of reasons, but pets are exceptional. Pets teach us things about ourselves.
yeah. Yeah.
Most language is nonverbal, yet we think language is verbal. So they say about 80 to 90% of the way that we communicate is
Mhm.
nonverbal.
Yeah.
But what we hear things, we get kind of distracted by it. What do pets do? They observe everything you do. You pack
Yeah.
your bag, you go on vacation, they like, I'm going right where you think
Right.
you're going? I'm showing up in that bag. I'm gonna start barking. I might pee on the house.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do all kinds of things because they watch your nonverbal
Yeah.
communication. That's
Right.
when they know. That's why they're really good in terms of emotional support animals
Right.
because they know when you're sad, even when
Yeah.
you're trying to tell me you're not. They
Right.
know when you're depressed,
True.
even when you say you're happy,
Yeah.
because they can sense that in their body is an experience coming through to you. So I
Right.
always say animals are fun. There's another caveat to that though, too,
What's
because
that?
I think as kids, they're very playful and they laugh like 3,000 times a day. Adults laugh like 50, if that. Sometimes it like laughter releases all these beautiful hormones that we're
Yeah.
trying to regulate
Yes.
anyways. It
Right.
is beyond better than a Prozac or any type of
Right.
psychotropic medication that you
It
can get.
is.
And if
It
you
is.
laughed as you did as a child, you wouldn't need that medication. But
Say
we've
that all
gotten
the time.
far from that. So in my book, I talk a little bit about this, and I think you'll like it. I said, what's the difference between being childlike and childish?
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, childish is more of a behavior, and childlike is more of embracing who you were or who you originally
That
are.
playfulness,
Playfulness
that
and fun, all of
excitement,
that.
that
Yes, yes,
laughter,
yes.
that healing.
Yes.
Childish is I don't want to work and I'm 50 years
Yeah, I'm
living
having a
in
whole brat
this.
attack.
Right? Like childish is like I haven't grown up. I think for
Yes.
women we always reference men like, oh, he's being childish, he's
Right,
forgetting
right,
or doing it the
right.
wrong way. Like that's
Yes,
kind of a familiar
yes.
metaphor in a sense. Although women, we can be childish too. We show up in some ways, especially in our relationships. Hmm.
That's good.
Hmm.
I like that one. I always talk about, going, I incorporate fun into my coaching because that's part of it,
Hmm.
fun and moving
Because you're a
around,
healer.
getting the energy back, and I incorporate dancing into my coaching
Hmm.
part of my coaching.
Movement of the body.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, right, exactly. So I talk about always when I was 5, I loved making mud pies. Loved decorated them, added collard greens to them. I had this whole thing going on, and I didn't worry about me getting dirty. We need to go back to that. We don't ever, like you said, we never laugh. We take things so serious, and then we laugh at the craziest things. To be like, you laughing, you know. Like I experienced working with clients that they when they get nervous they laugh. I was like, do you know if you would have laughed when you needed to laugh, you wouldn't be nervous and laughing like this? And it's a
Yep.
whole
Uh-huh.
serious thing. You're laughing
Uh-huh.
like somebody
Uh-huh.
died. You're laughing. You're in court. You're laughing. No, you would if you laugh in the appropriate places, you wouldn't be this way.
Yep.
And they were like,
Hmm.
really? I was like, you're not laughing. I know you're not because you
If you
laugh in the
laugh
wrong
before, I
place.
like that idea. If you laugh before, then maybe anxiety can't exist,
Yes.
right?
Yes. You're laughing in the
Mhm.
wrong places. So I talk about laugh, just busting out laughing, just like crack up laugh. Even if you're talking serious and you feel like, I'll be talking and explaining something and somebody and I'll start laughing. because it may be a trigger or it may be just uncomfortable, and I'll just crack up laughing. They're like, yeah, that is funny, and they'll start laughing. But it's a play. You learn how to use laughter as a place of release and
It
relief
is.
for the other person. So it's really good. I don't. It doesn't have to be humorous all the time. It could just be in a place. Put it in its place.
Yep.
And it's really
Take it where
great.
your pros at or your
Yes,
pain.
exactly. It's like taking a
Yeah.
pill. Just take one.
And the side effect is health.
Yes.
I
Like,
like
what?
the side effects.
The
I like
side effects
it.
are health. I love
I
that.
want to back up to those mud pies though.
Go ahead. Talk about the
Okay.
mud pies.
Mud has some nutrients,
Ooh.
zinc, they have minerals, it has your vitamins. So when you're a kid, most of us, especially on the American diet, are nutrient
Okay.
deficient. When you put your hands in that mud, it's being absorbed through your skin. So it's actually healing you and giving you some basic things, and you're not even ingesting the food.
Right.
I work in a community with holistic pets, and they
Okay.
say when you walk your pet, just go now, not in like the poop area. Like, don't let your dog walk. I don't believe like walking on poop because I know like you got to wash your paws.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let your dog play in some mud because they're building up their immune system. And
That's
there's some
good.
research to suggest, not to confirm, but there's some research to suggest that animals that get in nature and they get their paws in dirt will have built up these enzymes and they have these minerals and nutrients in their body.
That
They're
makes
less
sense.
likely to get long-term illnesses, like
Mm-hmm.
things that people live with, like
Yeah.
cancer and diabetes. If you have pets, they get everything humans get. So, so
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Well,
got to
I
play
have
in
a
some
cutie pet.
mud.
I have a cutie pet, and you always try to keep the cute pets cute. You don't want them to be dirty. You don't want them to, And my
Uh-huh.
dog is so annoying. My granddaughter bought him some slippers, and he was like,
Oh,
uh-uh. He's like, and he's
it's
like,
like, is there
he's
chicken
not
in this?
having it.
What do you want me to do with
No,
it?
he was not. He was like shaking his feet. He had just this whole like a allergic
Oh,
reaction to the whole thing. We were dressing him up to take him outside. We had this fur coat on him. He
he's
was
like,
like, uh-uh.
mm-mm.
But I learned this just recently,
Hmm.
him walking in the mud, like because we live by the river.
Okay.
So I let him walk in the
Ooh,
grass
that's even good.
and then
Hmm.
feel it and get into it. He's not as anxious, and
Hmm.
he was nibbling his feet, and I knew that had to do with his stomach,
Digestive. Hmm.
digestive. And I say, now he's not doing it, but I wipe his feet anyway when he gets in.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah,
I let
I
them play
like
in the
his
mud
feet,
and
but
wipe
I
their
let
feet.
him now do it, and he's now, even with the breath, like his breath was bad. I was keeping him like clean or too clean. I think that's what it
Hmm.
was, and I wasn't letting. But now I'm letting. He's not. He's doing a thing that an animal is supposed to do. It's like he goes in the dirt, sniffs around, looks at me. Where you going? And he's enjoying and just frolicking around. And I like that. And I was like, oh, so I'm healing my dog here.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was causing them
To get the
damage,
mind out of the
keeping them
way.
inside. I was causing them
Yep.
damage, really.
Hmm. And what you were able to do is you got the mind out of the way. Like,
Yeah,
oh my God, if he comes in this house and I don't have
yeah,
to wipe his feet,
yeah,
you got the mind out of the way and say, okay, I'm gonna let you play. We're gonna have some
yes.
steps when we get back home. We gotta negotiate
Yes, and
here.
it works, and I
Hmm.
feel so much
Hmm.
better. He's happier, he's happier, and I could
And
see
his
the living
digestion
together.
is happier.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it,
Yeah.
Tonya. I could not believe it. I was like, that is scary, and I didn't even think about the mud pie until you kind
Yep.
of said it. Oh,
Hmm.
that works with him.
Yep. Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
pretty cool. Pretty
I
cool.
used to eat grass as a kid and I would get in trouble. I'm like, this is some horrible schooling and parenting. Like, no
Terrible.
one ever asked, why
Terrible.
was I eating grass?
Yes.
I
We
was
used to we used to
nutrient
have it on the side
deficient.
of our mouths and like think we was cool, like hanging it out of our mouths, like that was cool.
Yeah, yeah. I needed the nutrients and the minerals from the
Yes.
soil and the
Yes.
grass, and my
Yeah.
body was craving it. Although the society and the world was telling me it was wrong. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh. So I
Yeah.
learned very earlier on that
Yeah.
maybe adults don't know the truth.
They don't. No. I'm pretty sure of it. And again, we're not, like you said, we're getting the mind out of the way. They're not getting the
Yeah,
mind out of the way
yeah.
and kind of like saying, oh, maybe this is this is not the right thing to do. And I'm telling you, it made me feel so good because I was thinking about, the animals again,
Hmm.
what we do to them and how they're so different when they're outside. Remember, we used to have our dogs outside.
Hmm.
They're
Hmm. They
so
do.
different, and they lived like 100 years. They lived like
Hmm.
as long as we lived when they were going outside. These new animals die really soon because they're inside all the
That
time.
is so important because they say the average span of small dogs,
Hmm.
16, 17 years, larger dogs, maybe
Yeah,
12. There are dogs out there that are at least living to 27,
right,
28 years old, and
right.
they're doing the things that you're doing with your
Yeah,
dog. So we have to
yeah.
be mindful of that. A lot of them too are cooking their own dog's food. Maybe that'll be another show. I'll do some
I'm
dog
doing that right now,
cooking.
girl. I'm doing that right now
So
because
happy.
my dog was my body was changing in my
Uh-huh.
40s and then 50s. I got all these gut problems, and I was like, went to a nutritionist. I said, okay, got to get rid of all this stuff, and I
Hmm.
had the brain fog anyway. Had that too. I'd be driving like, where am I going? I had to pull over one time. I was like, oh God, this is bad. Am I having like
Okay.
Alzheimer's early? Alzheimer's, like I'm freaking out on the side of on the side of the road. And then something told me, what did you eat?
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And I had something with bread in it. And I was like, I had, those heroes. I had that.
Yep.
I
Okay.
was like, no, that can't be it. Now I'm sitting here inside the road, still don't know where I'm going though. And I'm having this whole conversation with myself about this hero. So I was like, I stopped thinking and I called my friend and I said, "You're not gonna believe this. I don't know where I'm going. Did I call you? And am I
So
coming
there
to you
was
or
some, this
something?"
was getting pretty serious
Yeah,
though.
it was really, really
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, you were coming up to my house. I said, good. I said, I'm not coming to your house. I'm going back home and I'm going to call a doctor because there's something going on with me. I have to make
Okay.
sure. And so I called the doctor up. I went to the nutritionist. I said, you guys got to do a whole thing, work up on me. And they did this it's a body scan thing, and it did this whole body scan thing, and it really pinpointed everything for me. And I didn't even know
Okay.
the test existed. I don't know what the name of it was. And
Okay.
so they took me off for anything with gluten. I had to start reading labels. I'm gonna tell you, it took
Did
me,
you have to get glasses? Because those labels are like a
girl,
point
right
two.
here. The label I had to, and would go
I
shopping with
wear
the
glasses for
glasses
labels
right
too.
here, girl, with the glasses hanging right here to look at the labels. And I had
Uh-huh.
to do that. I had, and plus I was lactose intolerant as well. It was so bad that it
Mm.
gave me hernias, and I had to go for surgery in my late 50s.
Mm.
It
Hmm.
was really bad. So thinking about the dog, I was like, okay, if the dog's with me, I know he's probably responding to me because he's eating everything. He wouldn't eat dog food, and I was like, oh my god. And he's responding to my energy. So I'm like, oh my god, what am I
Hmm.
gonna do?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
right away, I started cooking, and believe it or not, he likes almost everything I eat, even gluten-free
Good.
stuff.
Good.
And it's the
Good.
weirdest thing. I mean,
Good.
he will not eat dog food. And what I learned about dog food, I don't blame him because it sits on
Oh,
the shelf for years
it's
almost.
not for human consumption, you
No,
guys.
it's not. If we can't
Read
eat
those
it,
ingredients.
right? If we
Do a
can't
Google
eat
search
it,
in
they
those words
shouldn't
you
be
don't
eating
know.
it.
Hmm.
Right. And that's why I say if we
Hmm.
can't eat it, they shouldn't be eating it because it just doesn't, it's not good. So yeah, but I'm very conscious now of that. But I'm really excited that you're here, Tanya, and that you have shared so many gems with us today. I forgot to say the title of your book. I want everybody to know the title of your book. Could you please give us the title of your book, how my audience can call you, ask you questions, and find you and friend you all over social media?
Mhm. All right, all right. So, and I always got like, let me just say this last bit. Life was happening for you, like life happens for all of us,
Right.
and it pushes us, and
Yes.
it can push us towards disease state or towards healing. And
Yeah.
sometimes we need some nudges and we get it. Like that first boyfriend that broke our heart and we said, oh, we're not going to date that again.
Yeah, I could do that
Sometimes
again.
we need to be pushed a little bit further. You
Yes.
got pushed to the cliff and
Yes.
then your eyes got opened up. Some people
Yeah.
need to be pushed off the cliff, and sometimes
Yeah.
that's the disease state.
Yeah.
So it's when do you open up your eyes to say, I want to stop being pushed out in life?
This is
But
so true. So
yep.
true.
Hmm. Hmm. So this is my book, Heal Thy Mind: 7 Strategies Towards Mental Wellness, Happiness, and Success. And it is on Amazon.
Okay.
And you can find me on social media like Facebook and Instagram at Holistic Clinician.
Awesomeness. Well, we
Mhm.
thank you, Tonya, for being on our show today and on our live. We are in 3 places, guys. We are on Keeping It Real on Purpose. If you missed the first part, you can get a replay. We are on LinkedIn and we are on YouTube. You can which all have a replay. Isn't it great?
Right.
And
That's
look
it.
for her next year on iTunes. You can hear it then too. All right. So
Okay.
we talk
All
to you
right.
real soon. And don't forget to have fun and be fabulous.
Yes,
Thank you
I
so much,
love it.
Tanya,
Thank you,
for
Edna.
being here.
All right.